Hello, my name is Dr. Dawn Childress, and I'm the new superintendent of Imagine ISD. Our new initiative this year is surrounding learner agency. We know that our students have different pathways to success in life, and there are many pathways that require many different skills, and we don't have any idea of what the future might hold for our students. Times are changing so quickly, technology is changing so quickly that we have to focus on skills that are transferable into any type of situation that students will find themselves in the future. Igniting creativity, critical thinking, communication, collaboration. These are skills that students will need no matter what they do in their futures, in working with one another, in working virtually or working in person, in having flexible spaces, flexible schedules. But one thing is for sure, that learning will be important from now into the future. And students owning their learning is a great skill and very important to their future success. Learner agency is something that we will focus on this year as we start the development of our students and our staff in taking ownership of their learning and carving out excellent futures for themselves. There are elements of learner agency that drive learning: purpose, self efficacy, choice, voice, motivation, ownership, engagement. These are all the things that go into creating learners that have agency. Learners that have agency are able to determine what paths they need to take, determine the learning that they need to engage in, take ownership of that learning, and propel forward towards goals that they make on their own. So, the fuel to learner agency is purpose. Students have to understand why, they have to have a vision, they have to imagine a future for themselves, and having that purpose is fuel to their learning success. Self efficacy, believing that they really can learn and be successful, is so important to their future success. Choice, having choices, being able to choose different paths for their future and different paths for their learning. Having student voice or learner voice, being able to add to the conversation, feel valued, feel that their ideas and thoughts are important. Take ownership of their learning by setting goals, having learning targets that they're a part of creating. The motivation that they have for learning is the engine that drives them forward. And we, as educators, must find those things that motivate them and help them create a great future for themselves. That motivation will engage them in learning and help them create different paths, those paths that will take them to whatever heights they need to reach in order to feel success and value in their work. And when I talk about learners, I'm talking about students and teachers, because in order to help students increase their agency, our teachers must have that autonomy. They must have that agency. They must have that ownership, motivation, purpose, self-efficacy. They must have choices and voice in the learning process. And that will increase our teacher engagement as well. How will we do all of this? Well, through the professional development process, we will work collaboratively in teams to learn together, to use evidence-based practices, to learn about the research in evidence-based practices, to find ways for new thinking and new practice. Teachers and students can't do this on their own. We must put in place supports collaboratively through our professional learning community, supports for student success, for their development of their learner agency, and for our teacher development of agency as well. Millions of conversations, millions of moments, capitalizing on those moments, capitalizing on the dialogue that our people will need in order to develop learner agency for themselves and in their learners, in their students, in their classroom, through discussions, collaboration, communication. That's the pathway to developing our learner agency. Learner agency is all about ownership of learning. It doesn't matter where we're at, what place we're in. What matters is that learning continues. Teachers and students and all of us can learn in our buildings. We can learn without our buildings. We can learn in our families, in our communities. And we need to engage our community partners in helping to open the eyes of our students and our learners to the possibilities that there may be in the future. So giving our teachers that feeling of professionalism, engaging them with thought partners in our community, engaging our students in collaboration with partners in our community, that's the way that we will create a positive future for our community and for our learners through the increasing of their ownership and their learning. We have to break the cycle of traditional education. We have to look at time differently, look at structures differently, look at grade level bands differently. Our focus must always be on learning and igniting learning in students so that they know that learning is something that happens everywhere that they are, and that every moment that they spend can be an added value moment to their lives and their futures. We want our students to have a bright future. And even though we don't know what that future might look like, we can ensure that they are successful by increasing their agency, their ownership in their learning. Thank you.